For today's Business Brief, we're joined by Stephen Koukoulas from Market Economics. Stephen, good to see you. We are now well and truly in the weeds on these income tax cuts. Labor putting forward yesterday an alternative proposal. It is complex, but I think taxpayers just hear that they're being denied a tax cut potentially by Labor. So that's the political problem. Is there an economic problem as well?
Yeah, look, the economy does need a bit more of a shot on the arm. Obviously, we've got the Reserve Bank trimming interest rates to try to kickstart the economy from a monetary policy perspective. But there's, as you said, it's complex, the income tax issue. Labor's policy proposal, in a sense, was not a bad idea, trying to ramp up the cash injection to the economy. It needs it now, not necessarily in 2024. So there are elements of that that are important and I think that should be considered by the government, that they need to get some cash into the economy. But of course, as you touch on, the political problem for Labor, if they do reject phase 3 or stage 3 of the tax cuts, they're going to be tarred with the brush of not going for tax cuts by the time the 2022 election rolls around. That's the political problem. Yeah,
the political problem is that they get weighed down by this and they have to explain why over the next 2 or 3 years why they did oppose it. The crossbench may be coming to the party here. But also we've heard from Philip Lowe, the RBA governor, a couple of times in the last week or so. Stephen, he's essentially pleading with the government to do more. We know tax cuts on the agenda, there's a huge infrastructure spend, but what else do you think Philip Lowe is looking for?
Oh, look, he's made some very, very good points, and you're quite right that the problem with a couple of those issues like infrastructure is it's very hard to fast-track them. If you're building a road, you've got to do it bit by bit, and you can't build it all in a 12-month period. It takes time for that to happen. Similarly to with some of the other things that he's talking about, productivity enhancement things, that's skills, education, training. It's making sure that those people who are currently unemployed or underemployed have the skills required so that when a firm needs more people, they can get them easily. That grows the economy faster. So there's reforms like that that could be considered. But for the here and now, with the economy only growing at about 1.7%, unemployment rate creeping up, he was sort of also pleading for perhaps doing something now. We need it before the end of this calendar year. The sooner the better, because if we don't, there's a very real risk that the economy just splutters along at about 1.5% and the unemployment rate creeps back above 5.5%. That's the problem that he's talking about.
Yeah, there's a number of problems. Look, the government is talking about changes in industrial relations laws. Scott Morrison asking business to come up with solutions to the problems that they perceive. What is the number one thing you think the government should do in IR?
Yeah, IR is always that thorny one. In a sense, we do have quite a flexible labour market. In fact, one of the issues that was spoken about, certainly by the union movement during the recent election campaign, is that arguably it's a little too flexible, that people are losing some of their conditions and penalty payments. The gig economy, if you like, is undermining some of the workers' entitlements. So that's part of the issue. But the IR issue has got to be one where people get a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. So that's that issue of wage theft and not being paid their superannuation. But nonetheless, I think we just need people to have that ability and that willingness to work the hours they want. We come back to that issue that we just need a stronger economy. The IR system isn't in bad shape. Arguably, it can be modified and tinkered with a little bit, but we just simply need the economy to be growing stronger. That's how you get unemployment down. That's how you actually get wages growth to pick up.
Yep, we certainly do. We'll keep an eye on that one, of course. Thanks so much. It is simple. Thank you. Perhaps it's not always perceived that way. See you soon, Stephen.